So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at a new game from DVG, Dan Verson Games, and this is Soldiers in Postmen's Uniforms. So this is, I believe, the third game, is that true? The third game in the Valiant Defense series by David Thompson. So this is a solitaire game, and this is the defense of the Polish post office in Danzig during the Second World War. And this Valiant Defense series is a series of solitaire games where it's you play as the defenders, Valiant Defense series, obviously, and there's just waves of incoming enemies. In this instance, it's going to be the Germans. And it's set up in unique situations or interesting situations or sometimes situations you may not necessarily have heard of. And it's not, these huge pitched battles, like big operational levels. These are usually tactical level games. It's, 100 guys or even less sometimes in some of these games. It's a few guys in, a building, defending a building, and it's the vantage points out of this particular window. What can they hit? These kinds of things. So let's get into this. This is because the newest one in this series, hot off the presses, and we'll see what we've got in here. P.S. The 2-inch box is absolutely chock full. The lid barely fits on it. So they kind of pack this thing. So we have the companion book and the rule book, and we'll just start with the rule book here real quick. So the rules, if you've played any DVG rules, they usually have a lot of full color examples and explanations, and the rules are usually fairly easy to digest and to kind of get into and get through. So, should be fairly simple. Solitaire games often have a structure, and once you go through a couple turns, you can kind of do it without the rules pretty easily. So the companion book, what do we got in here? Looks like we've got a bunch of... Does this have scenarios in it? Not yet. A bunch of history, which is cool. Yes. More history. Well, I guess it really is just a companion book explaining the history behind what's going on in the game, and then, what happened in the actual events of this game. And then it looks like, the consequences, what happened to the people that you're playing with, all that kind of stuff. Notes on the actual battleground, interesting designer notes, all that kind of stuff as well. So, and all of the people who are here. So this is, I guess, is just a big slice of history. It's actually pretty significant. This is very large. The number of pages, about 45 odd pages. So, pretty intense there. But again, if you're going to learn and play with something you don't know about, nice to have a companion there with you. We've got a big, shiny, glossy board, which we'll get to here in just a second. And we have a ton of cardboard. A bunch of cardboard. So we have actual cardboard. We have a bunch of circular and pre-rounded square counters. So these large circular ones that just kind of punch out there, and they're dual-sided. And we got these ones. These are your Polish units that you'll be using. They have an exhausted side, and they got a couple sides here. Bunch of those, and then obviously we have some different markers, and these are for different supply statuses and defensive bonuses and things like that. Which will be very interesting to see how those play out in comparison to things like Pavlov's house and the other one, which I've forgotten what it is called, and I should know about, but I'm ashamed I don't. So, a bunch of markers in there. We're going to punch all that stuff. Alright. Play aids. So this play aids... That's interesting. I mean, this is like almost the entire rulebook. So you could just lay all these out if you're so inclined and just play through them. So you have the enemy phase, you play through it. The defensive phase, moving. The defensive phase, attributes. The defensive phase, all the actions that you can take as the defender. Then there's the clearing phase and the escape phase. But those are all single-sided, so you can kind of lay them all out, or have them as kind of, not flip charts, but a little flow chart that you can play through. We have a bunch of cubes of different colors. Yellow, green, red. I mean, there's a bunch of colors in here of the cubes. They'll be used as markers. Let's get those back in the bag. So a bunch of D6s as well. So we've got 4 regular D6s. Nice bold pips. That's what I like in my dice. I have this really cool set of dice here. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then the other one is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know if I've seen a dice quite like that before, or a set of dice that you're going to roll together. That is pretty neat, and I'm not quite sure the effects that that's going to give in the game. And then we have shipping insert, which we can toss. We don't need that anymore. And then we have a couple of decks of cards, and these are going to be attack cards and tactics cards typically. So let's try to open these. Let's see, where do they open at? I think it's right here, he says. I'm too dumb for that one, so enjoy. Come on. There we go. I was able to get this one. Okay, he says if we can get it open. There we go. So these are attack 2. These are midday, so there's different times of attacks, I guess. So we've got attack 1 in the morning, and attack 2 in the midday, and then there's Tactics 3 evening. There's probably attack cards in here as well. He says, diving back into it, trying to open it, which we do successfully this time. Yes! I've already embarrassed myself, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So we have attack evening, attack. So we do have still have some midday ones here. Not many. Attack midday. Morning, midday, evening. So these are the attack cards, and you'll play through these as the game progresses. And so this is going to tell you what riflemen attack and things like that, if they got special weapons leaders, I guess. Well, then these are tactics cards. After resolving a submachine gunner card, place a second submachine gunner counter in the same location as the first, and then advance the counters as normal. So these are going to be different additions to or extra things that can happen with regards to the attacks that can happen. So this is going to fuel the AI basically, and then you, when it's your turn, have all those defensive actions that you can take, which are listed right here. You're going to be doing all this kind of stuff with all your units. So let's take a look at the board here. Let's move these cards out of the way, of which there are quite a few. And let's open this up. So this is not a 22 by 34. It's kind of thinner than that. It might be 34, but it's not 22 high. So you can see the board is basically divided into two sections. So you have this is the post office building where you will be. There's different floors, and then there's these incoming tracks where the Germans are trying to encircle you and come in and attack. So you're moving units up here, and then when you're this is a cross section of this part of the building where you're going to be. So you literally have little guys, little counters are going to be in these different rooms at this really small scale. Like, this is a bathroom, there's a shower with toilets. This is like a lounge room, there's like a little rug. You know, there's some chairs, it's a staircase, there's a little kitchenette over here. So that, like, it's a very tactical level. There's a basement which has all different barrels and stuff in it. And you're going to be able to go up and down these floors with you guys, fighting like room to room, hand to hand in it. But they flow in through the tracks, so you try to shoot guys before they can get into the building. When they're in the building, you're moving around, trying to get guys into good positions. So if you're in one of these spots, you can attack kind of out of this front of the building. If you're in these blue spots, you can attack into these blue tracks, and the orange ones correspond to the orange as well. And then you've got these white sections where you can kind of shoot out of here into these tracks. So everything kind of correlates, but you're moving all your guys around here to kill all the enemies coming in. And it's a neat system. We're actually going to play this. We might play this co-op. We played Pavlov's House co-op, and it was really fun. So we might try and do that here, so we can kind of get both of us to kind of have some input on this one. But Grant's played both of the other ones in this series, liked them immensely. So more of the same, so to speak, from this. So this is Soldiers in Postmen's Uniform. We're going to play this one and let you know how this is. But appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.